Have you ever been in this situation where you're trying to get as close as possible to your subject and then your lens just won't focus? This is something that's happened to me a lot of times, and it's something I didn't really understand why. That is, until I tried these. These are diopters. These are the Shift Diopters from PolarPro and ShortStache. Diopters scared me for the longest time because I really didn't understand what they were used for, how the different strengths affect the image, and then which set I should pick up in the first place. So if you don't know what diopters are, they're essentially like glasses for your lenses which allow you to get even closer to your subject. So why diopters? Well, diopters are used because lenses have a minimum focus distance, and in the cases of longer lenses or anamorphic lenses, the minimum focus distance can be actually really bad. You would use a diopter to get even closer to your subject, increasing the minimum focus distance without having to use lenses like macro lenses, which can be really expensive. And that's where these come in handy. So I wanted to test these out in both spherical and anamorphic lenses and see if it's worth adding to the kit. Alright, so we're going to do a very unscientific test using the new Shift Diopters from PolarPro and ShortStache. And to do that, I have two different lens sets in front of me. I have the Dizio Vespa 2s, which are spherical lenses, and then I also have the Blazar Remuses, which are anamorphic lenses. And we're going to test these filters out and see how they affect the image. One of the cool things about these filters is they actually come in 3 different strengths. You have a 2 strength, a 4 strength, and an 8 strength, giving you different options depending on how close you are. So we're gonna start off with the 2 strength. The +2 is gonna be the lightest of the 3 strengths, and it's supposed to give you light compression, and I think a lot of people tend to overlook this one when they're choosing a diopter. I have a little scene set up here, and it's not the most fancy, but it gets the job done. So starting off here, I have a spherical lens with a subject that's as close to the lens as possible at its minimum focus distance, and I'm gonna use the Shift Diopter to bring that minimum focus distance down even closer. So with the subject at the minimum focus distance of the lens, you can see that the image is out of focus, but if I add the diopter, we're tack sharp. You would use a +2 if you're trying to get a little bit closer to your subject without trying to get a full-on macro shot. But if I switch over to the +4, we're able to get even that much closer to the subject. And then the really cool thing, if you want to try to get as close to a macro shot as possible, you'd use the +8 filter. And if I add the +8, you can see how close we can actually get to our subject. If you compare all 3 shots side by side, you can see the differences between each filter and how the different strengths compare. Now, if we switch over to anamorphics, that's where things get a little bit more interesting. Inherently, anamorphic lenses have very bad minimum focus distancing. As you can see here, the subject is completely out of focus and it's only about a foot away from the lens. But if I add the diopter, we can get way closer to our subject. And this is what it looks like when you compare all 3 different strengths of filters on an anamorphic lens at its minimum focus distance. So one of the things I noticed when using these filters is that the higher the number you go up, the more compression you get out of your image. So with the +2, you get light amount of compression. With +4, you tighten up the frame a little bit and get a little bit more compression. And with the +8, you get the most amount of compression, and you also get the most detail and texture out of your image. So you can see just by doing a couple different lens tests, you can use these to increase the minimum focus distance on your lens without having to buy a whole other macro lens. And I think beyond technically, and I think going beyond the technical part, using different filters like mist filters, creative filters, and diopters, you can get more creative control back without having to sacrifice your image due to technical limitations. It gives you back full creative control and can lead to fun and unique shots for your next project. So if you're interested in picking up a set of these for yourself, I'll leave a link down in my bio where you can check these out and hopefully make something fun in your next project. I don't know if I checked focus once on this.